In this module, we're going to go over how to actually use your workspace to its full potential. That way you know how it works and how everything connects and the basic structure and system that I use in order to keep my ChatGPT projects and my prompts in my notes all organized. So let's say I just created a prompt in ChatGPT and I'm excited about it and I don't want to forget it. So if I accidentally clear my conversations or accidentally delete the prompt, I want to be able to keep it so that I remember it. And maybe this is a prompt that I use often. Let's take my salmon recipe when I use the Instacart plugin in that module, for example. Let's say that I really liked this recipe and I wanted to create a template out of it so I didn't have to keep going back, looking at it, remembering it, and typing it in. What I could do is I could take this prompt right here and make it a template. So instead of I have an excess amount of salmon, I could probably just get rid of that. And I could start the prompt by saying, generate me a unique recipe involving, and then in brackets here, I could just put food. And if we continue, that serves blank amount of people. So that would be a good start for a nice template prompt. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this and I'm going to hit Control C, head back over to my Mastery Hub, and I just want to start out by hitting Add New Prompt here over on the left. So I'm going to hit Add New Prompt. And now we are prompted, no pun intended, to give this prompt a name. So what do we want this to be remembered by? Well, if we go back to the prompt, I said generate me a unique recipe involving salmon that serves 6 people. So maybe I can just put a title for this prompt of Unique Dinner. Okay? Now, the next step I usually do is head down to the prompt, and if you remembered, I copied that, so now I can paste it in. But in order to make this actually effective, I think it's important that you templatize your prompts. So instead of saying generate me a unique recipe involving salmon, what I could do is I could just put food right here in brackets so that I know I can input whatever food I want there for the future. That serves, and then I could put amount or number of people. So I'll just put number people. So how many people am I having over? What do we want to eat? And if I wanted to, I could even make this template prompt a little bit more better. So I could do like involving food 1 and food 2. Okay. That serves a blank amount of people. So maybe I want to do 2 foods and I want ChatGPT to generate me a unique recipe involving those 2 foods. So now I have my prompt in here for my unique dinner. This is great. This is wonderful. If I want to, I can even add an icon for this, or you can keep it blank. You don't have to add an icon. But if you did want to add an icon, you could hit add icon. Then I would recommend going to the icons tab right here. And then you can kind of just type in whatever you want, maybe food. And we have sort of these utensils here with a fork, spoon, and knife. So that looks very nice. You can even add a cover for this page if you want to make it look nice and pretty. But the next step, the next actually important step, is to add this prompt to a folder. So you're just going to kind of keep going down these properties here and filling out the necessary information. So what we want to do is actually open up this folders database. And as you can see, right now, we don't have a folder to put this in. It's not going to go in my general folder, and it's not going to go in my ChatGPT Mastery course folder, although it could, since you did get this prompt from the ChatGPT Mastery course. But anyway, let's say that there was no course and I'm doing this for my personal life and I want to actually create a cooking folder within my folders database. Let's say I like using ChatGPT for cooking and I want to develop a list of cooking prompts that I can continue to use in ChatGPT with ease. So maybe I would make a cooking folder within my folders database. So now, in order to create a new folder, what you can do is, as you saw me just do, since I didn't have a cooking folder right here, I can create a page by typing in a new name, and then you can select this, or what you can do is you can go to your add new folders and add a new folder from there. But while we're doing this in a new prompt, I think it's necessary that we go through what it looks like to add a new folder when you're creating a new prompt as well. So what I can do is I can hit new cooking in folders database, and this will actually create a new cooking folder. Then in order to customize the folder, I recommend just going into the cooking folder and then setting up your cooking folder. You won't have to do this process every time once you develop a database of folders that your prompts can easily fit into, but if you're making a new folder, then I think it's a good practice. So you can select the area of your life that this is going to, and If you don't see an option that you like in here, or you want to add a new option, you can just type in a new option. So you could type in new option and then hit create. And now you can select that new option as well. You can change the color of these by going to these three dots right here and changing the color. For this one, I'm going to put personal, so we can kind of organize it by personal. And then for papers, we actually don't have any papers for this cooking yet. So if we wanted to take notes, or we wanted to do a cooking project, or we wanted to put an ingredient list for a certain recipe, then maybe we could throw all of those papers within here. And I'll show you how to add a paper and how to connect it to your folders and your prompts a little bit later. But what we have here is a nice cooking folder all ready to go. Now, when you do have your cooking folder, I recommend adding an icon and a cover in order to make it aesthetically pleasing on your homepage. So maybe for the cooking folder, I'll just type in cooking once again, and maybe I can add this knife kitchen, this kitchen knife, and I'll change that icon actually to white so it looks a little cleaner. And next we have to add a cover. So when you're adding a cover, you can hit that little add cover button, then hit change cover. And I recommend actually going to Unsplash in order to search for an image. And then I would just type in whatever you're looking for. So in this example, cooking, and then you can add a nice image of cooking. I like trying to keep a similar style with all of my folder pictures. So I'm going to go for this black and white style. I really like this. And right now it looks like nothing. You can't really see it. It kind of looks like space or some abstract art. So just hit reposition. Then you can drag it to reposition. So now you can tell that they are using flour and maybe some other seasonings. Then you can hit save position. And now we have a new folder. So if I click off into some empty space on the side of the screen, as you can see, not only do we have this new prompt, but we have a new folder that prompt goes into. And if we are using this prompt often, what we can do is we can hit this little check mark, so it will be in our favorite prompts here. So now when we open up our prompts database, as you can see, we have our favorite prompts right here, and then we have our sorted prompts, which gives an overhead view of every prompt that we've created, sorted by the folder that it gets put into. So if I open up cooking, I can see all of my cooking prompts. If I open up general, I can see all of my general prompts that I actually do not have. I'm going to go back to home now. Now let's say I want to use this unique dinner prompt and I'm having some people over and I want to make a unique recipe involving chicken and pasta that serves 5 people, let's say. So what I can do when I want to utilize this prompt is I can double click it, and now we are going to be selected in here. So I can copy it and hit Control C. Another way of copying the prompt is hitting open right here on unique dinner. So I can hit open and then I can click into that and copy that there as well. So I'm going to hit these 2 chevron arrows right here in order to close this page. And now I'm going to head back over to ChatGPT and I'm going to start a new chat and I'm going to put it on ChatGPT 4. I'm going to paste in my prompt and now I can fill out that information. So involving chicken and pasta that serves, let's just say 5 people, and I can send that off. And what we're actually doing right now is we can create a paper out of this prompt that it generates, so we can have that note for when we want to reference that recipe later if we end up liking it, and we can see all the ingredients, the instructions, and everything that ChatGPT generates in the form of a paper within our database. So as you can see, it generated us this nice recipe. This one is called chicken and sun-dried tomato fusilli. So we are using some fusilli pasta and we are involving chicken and some sun-dried tomatoes, which is very cool. So now if I want to save this, instead of just having it be in ChatGPT within all of my other work stuff mixed in with everything, what I can do is I can actually create a new paper and relate it to the cooking folder and the prompt used in order to generate this result. So I'm going to head back over to the ChatGPT Mastery Hub, and what I can do here is I can hit add new paper. Now I can name this paper. So what I'm actually going to name it is the recipe name. I'm going to name it chicken and sun-dried tomato fusilli. I'm going to copy this, hit Control C, and then paste it in here. Now I can relate this to a folder. So I'm going to hit in folders, and we already have our cooking folder created. So I can easily just select that cooking folder, hit some empty space down below the screen, and now I can select a prompt that we actually used that was related to this note or this recipe in this example. So I'm going to select prompts, and we actually used the unique dinner prompt in order to generate this information. So we are going to do that. And now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy this entire prompt by hitting that little clipboard right here. As you can see, there's that little clipboard next to the thumbs up and thumbs down. This copies the entire result, the entire output that ChatGPT generated to your clipboard. And now I'm going to head back to the Mastery Hub. And where it says press enter to continue with an empty page, what I'm going to do is I'm going to select that space and hit Control V in order to paste in this recipe. So now I have it for whenever I want. Once again, I can add an icon if I want. Maybe let's type in chicken and I can just add this little chicken right here. So now that it's been connected to a folder, it's been connected to a prompt, now you can really see how everything connects within the database. So these papers can be in the form of notes. It can be in the form of projects. So maybe you have a certain line of code that you're creating with ChatGPT for a certain application or a certain page. What you could do is actually put the page name in here and then have a folder for website design or website design for a specific client. Now, this is not by any means a project database, but it's more so just for sorting prompts and notes and things that can help you in your personal life and a little bit in your work life. I'm sure you could create your own projects database from this database if you are familiar with Notion, but if you aren't familiar with Notion, then this should be a good little start to get you introduced. I can favorite it if I want to, I can unfavorite it, but I'm just going to actually leave it as unfavorite right now, and I'm going to click off into some empty space here. And now you can see that when I go into my cooking folder, we'll have a paper that is related to that. So whenever I relate something on one database, it will get related on the other database. So I don't have to go in there and continue to do that. So let's say I have a ton of recipes within this cooking folder, and I'm like, you know what? I want a unique recipe for dinner tonight. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into my cooking folder, and all the recipes that I have will be listed right here, and then I can easily click into those recipes and continue to follow the instructions and cook the meal that I want that night. Also, when I open up prompts, I can see the papers that this prompt was used in. So this is very cool. You can see all of the projects, all of the notes, and everything you use that prompt for right here. And it doesn't stop at just one folder or one paper. What you can do is you can actually hit this little plus button. And since I learned this prompt from the ChatGPT Mastery course, I could also put it within the ChatGPT Mastery course folder. So now this prompt, when I am going to the cooking folder or the ChatGPT Mastery folder, is listed right there. So if I go to cooking, as you can see, again, it's listed right there. Let me open up my prompt again. And the same goes with papers. If you want to create 100 papers that involve this unique dinner recipe, you can put in 100 papers right here. Now when I go into sorted prompts, as you can see, I have one prompt for the ChatGPT Mastery course and one prompt for cooking. And that's actually the same prompt currently, but I just wanted to show you that you could put one prompt in multiple folders here. I'm going to go back to home, and now I'm going to go into my listed papers. As you can see, I don't have any favorited papers currently, and I'm in that view. But if I head over to the papers archive, this is just going to show you a huge list of all of your papers that you've created, and it will have the little folder there on the side, which is very, very nice. If I wanted to favorite this paper, I could open that page and hit favorite. So now every time I want to go view my favorite papers, I can go there. And as you can see, it will be listed right there. If I unfavorite it, it will be out of that database. I'm going to hit these two chevron arrows to close this page. And now I'm going to go back to home. And if I open up my folders database, this is my only favorite folder currently. As you can see, I am in the favorite folders tab. If I head over to organized folders, I can see an overhead view of all of these nice folders listed right here. As you can see, this is actually my current prompt hub that I've used in the past. I need to actually utilize it a little bit more because I do think it's super, super useful. But this is what it'll start to look like when you get some more prompts and some more folders in here. As you can see, if I go to songs, I have a ukulele song generator, and I have some papers that I've generated using this prompt right here. So the prompt goes, create a ukulele song with chords that is length of song and is based on topic. So if I go over to a song I generated, which is Moonlit Love on the Shore, and click on that, as you can see, I have some chords that ChatGPT generated and some verses. So this is very cool, and I can just continue adding a bunch of songs to this folder using this prompt. And once I get 4 or 5 songs in here, underneath Moonlit Love on the Shore, all of those will be listed. So I can just click into my songs that I generated with ChatGPT and so on. If I go over to website design, as you can see, I have a paper here, and this would be kind of like a project-based paper that I built rather than just a fun personal paper like the song generator or the recipe. And when I click into Mini MJ application, as you can see, it's related to 2 folders, Midjourney Art, hence MJ, but it doesn't have any prompts generated because this prompt was so long and not customizable, so I didn't want to add it to my prompts database. But as you can see, I added some code blocks here in Notion, and now I have some code right here based on my website design in Midjourney Art folder. This would kind of be the ChatGPT project side of things that I would come back to, and I'd be like, okay, now I can just copy this code, head over to my website, and I can do this for different sections, different pages. I can do this with different type of code. If you do want to create a code block in Notion, what you can do is hit /code, and then you can hit this little code snippet right there, and then you can change whatever language you're looking for and then paste in your code. So that's pretty useful if you do software engineering, website design, or anything that involves using a lot of code. So this is what it starts to look like when you add a bunch of folders. Let me go to my organized folders. And as you can see, it starts to look very cool when you have all of these different folders in here. I'm going to go to my sorted prompts. And as you can see right here, we have a bunch of sorted prompts sorted by different groups. So I can just open up those groups. If I want a YouTube prompt, I can open it up. And this was an example, but I can just copy and paste these prompts into ChatGPT and easily use them. So if you're new to Notion, this was probably a little bit overwhelming and there was a lot to learn, but I do just recommend watching back this video. I think that it can give you a pretty good guide on how I use it so that you can translate that and how you use it as well. Now, this ChatGPT organization database isn't going to completely change the way you do projects forever, but what it does do is provides a nice little spot that you can customize however you'd like on a software other than ChatGPT, where you can paste your prompts, your recipes, your songs, whatever it may be, your code, your creative writing, your chapters in your book. The list goes on. Whatever you want to use ChatGPT for, this is a nice little workspace to do so. If you have any questions regarding this workspace, shoot me a message in the group, or somebody else in the group might know Notion and can help answer, or shoot me an email or a private message, and I will try my best to get back, and maybe I can help you out in solving your problem. That is all I have for this module when it comes to installing the workspace. I hope this has been useful, and I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for learning about ChatGPT with me and purchasing this course. I appreciate your support, and I will see you in the group.